Hey, what's going on, everyone? Figured I might as well do my April book haul followed by my April wrap-up video, and that way I'll be all caught up on the staple booktube style videos, not feel like I'm behind or anything like that, and then that way the May ones can hopefully come out right on time. So let's just go ahead, get right into it. And the first one here is Peter Adamson's Ibn Senna. Latinized as Avicenna, probably more commonly known, at least in the West, as that. But this was a group read in my philosophy Discord, and I think out of the Oxford Verso introductions that we've done so far, this one definitely seemed to have garnered a little bit of the, I guess it garnered the most praise, I guess, for its like clarity and that sort of thing. And I do think it was really well done. I have finished this one already, and what I like about Ibn Senna is this book does cover his some of his like kind of medicine knowledge. And contributions in science as well, a little biographical sketch, and then a lot on his philosophy and that sort of thing. But with his philosophy, he uses a lot of formal logic and syllogisms and premises to kind of go towards conclusions, which I just really like because that was kind of one of my favorite things, like when I studied philosophy in college and whatnot. But what I like about Ibn Senna is even if the conclusions that he came to were a little controversial, he didn't build in little loopholes or caveats that I've seen in a lot of other kind of like ancient and medieval philosophy writers and thinkers and stuff. He basically said, yeah, no one's going to agree with this, but as a side effect, we're going to have to just like agree with it because that's just what the premises lead to. For example, when he was dealing with an argument, it led to that the universe effectively has no place. And it was because there's no space outside of the cosmos. And that was kind of controversial for the medieval period and that kind of thing. And he was just like, yeah, that's kind of what the argument says we're going to have to go with. So that's what we're going with. So I do like that. Like I said, just not creating like little like I said, little semantic loopholes to get out of unsavory things and whatnot. But did really enjoy that one. Next up are the two, I guess, book club books I got from Verso. It's where you pay like a fee a month and they send you, you pick one of the books. I guess I didn't realize on the first month you get both. So I wanted John Berger's Hold Everything Dear: Dispatches on Survival and Resistance, basically because it looked like a kind of a nice combination of like literature and travelogue and poetry and art and stuff, like kind of all mixed matched together during his travels, like I think throughout the Middle East, like post 9/11 era, I think during that 4 or 5 years after 9/11 and that kind of thing. So it sounded pretty interesting, but apparently they send you both books. And so I got Jody Dean's Capital's Grave, and I did finish this one. I figured, I might as well read one of them, read the hard one first, because if I don't, I'm going to just start falling way behind on, like, the monthly reads and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not, like, super well-versed in, like, economic stuff, but I do feel like it was broken down pretty well. The premise of the book is, everyone talks about, like, late-stage capitalism and that sort of setup, and her argument is we're almost in a different thing now. We're in, I guess her concept is neo-feudalism, and her arguments do make a lot of sense, kind of compared to, like, she was even using references from Mark Bloch and stuff, who wrote pretty famous scholar of feudal society. Probably will be reading that for Historathon hopefully next month, maybe, I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, basically how the service economy and the gig economy and everything like that has kind of transformed capitalism into this weird subscriber based weird setup, where a lot of our assets and things are kind of like used for work and leisure. They're not really just leisure anymore and all that kind of stuff. Not gonna lie, I've never really studied or read anything on economics, so I can't really, I don't feel like I'm in really a place to like judge anything as far as like economic kind of stuff goes. So probably will be something I'll have to read a little bit more on in the future. But was quite interesting, and I do have a friend over on Discord who said this is like the real deal and was looking forward to reading it. So next up, I have a couple books I picked up at a library sale, and no, it was not the library that I run, though. Very sad. It's very sad, like, when their, like, leftovers are, like, better than my non-fiction section. So I might be taking you guys up on the book drive idea maybe sometime down the road. Anyways, we got Plato and a Platypus Walk into a Bar by Thomas Cathcart and Daniel Klein. Understanding Philosophy Through Jokes. Literally, I have no idea about this book. It literally is basically like a little one-page intro to a topic, and then a bunch of jokes about that topic. I don't know. I don't know really what else to add to it, but I just thought it was like just a crazy idea for a book, so I kind of ran with it. Next up is Robert McFarlane's The Old Ways, A Journey on Foot. Now, I've read a couple of Robert McFarlane books. Oh, geez, I read the Mountain one. Do you think I'd know that? I should have grabbed it off. Wow, what a fail. Am I going to keep this in? I don't think I can. Mountains of the Mind, I think, is what it's called, if I remember correctly. But anyways, I do really enjoy Robert McFarlane, and he is considered kind of one of those like top tier kind of nature tangent sort of writers and that kind of thing. And this is all about, I think, footpaths and like going hiking and walking paths throughout the world or something. Robert finally sets off to follow the ancient routes that crisscross both the British landscape and its waters and territories beyond. The result is an immersive, enthralling exploration of the voices that haunt old paths and the stories our tracks tell. So it's kind of, like I said, it's going to be kind of a little bit of travel log, travel writing, with a lot of nature reflection and kind of broader context of like the human condition and stuff. Just really good stuff. And then Roger Crowley's City of Fortune, How Venice Ruled the Seas. So this is all about a history of the city-state of Venice and during kind of the high and late Middle Ages. So I've read a couple of his books already. I read the one on... what did I read? I read... what's it called? I'm having a hard time remembering titles, apparently. The Cursed Tower, about the fall and siege of Acre, to kind of really close out the Crusades there. And then also his book on the Battle of Lepanto, the naval battle in the 1600s between kind of like, East and West and that sort of thing. So I do like his writing style. He's got quite a few good books. I figure I probably will end up reading them all at some point. He's also written another one. Was it 1453? If I remember, yeah. The Battle of Lepanto one was Empires of the Sea. Just so I love how it's like right on the cover. Don't even say it. Anyways, like I said, another library, getting rid of some good books. Next up, I have a bunch of books that were sent to me for like reviewing and all that kind of stuff. And first off, we got William Dalrymple's The Golden Road, How Ancient India Transformed the World. And this one and the next two are from Bloomsbury Publishing, so thank you to them for that. This one even has like a little book ribbon. You don't see that very often. Like, we're just, regular nonfiction books. There's tons of plates. There's, I think, 3 sections of plates that are about a dozen plates each, if I remember. If I could turn a page, that would also be appreciated. So you got that kind of stuff. Really good. I'm probably about a third of the way through. But I wanted to read this one for Historathon in particular, just because I don't read much on Eastern stuff. And I just figured this would be a really good kind of ancient and medieval history of India, which, like I said, I haven't read a whole lot about. I did like the intro chapters on kind of like the early history of Buddhism and Buddhist trade and how it kind of spread and whatnot. But the premise of this book is a lot of people know about the Silk Roads between China and the West, Marco Polo, all that kind of stuff. His argument is before the Mongols kind of, flipped the table over and destroyed all of the things that came before. What actually came before was a golden road between India and the West. And it was I've read tons of books on Rome and stuff. And it was really fascinating just learning about the different merchant convoys and the trading stuff that we do know of on some like records and on papyri that have come to us about trading between India and Arabia and the rest of the Roman West. So I think that's actually really cool. So I'm really looking forward to getting into the medieval period for that one. Next up is Death is Our Business, Russian Mercenaries and the New Era of Private Warfare by John Lechner. And this is a journalistic kind of investigation of, I think, primarily the Wagner Group, I think they're still in operation, even though I don't know if it includes kind of like their like kind of weird collapse based on the assassinations of their like leader like last year. Anyways. The Wagner Group, which was like a private military corporation of Russia, like kind of has like used, then kind of tried to like do a coup sort of thing in Russia a couple years ago that was put down, stuff like that, and how I guess like PMCs kind of like taken over in these kind of like proxy wars and different conflicts in the modern era, and kind of how that changes the game a lot, and like geopolitics and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, not super well versed in all those kinds of things, so I'm hoping this kind of enlightens me a little bit. And what sold me on that one too was there was a bunch of like just direct, I guess, interview quotes, maybe not quotes, what transcripts that he did with some of the mercenaries that he was able to talk to. And then the last one here is Shots Heard Round the World, America, Britain, and Europe in the Revolutionary War by John Ferling. So I wanted this one to kind of contrast with the Rick Atkinson books that I'm currently reading. Right now I'm reading The Fate of the Day, which is his second book in his giant like American Revolutionary War trilogy. So those are the first ones I think I've read since high school. So I think it's gonna be kind of fun, like having like another angle to like look at the Revolutionary War in. And Europe, I guess, plays a big role in this book, and I do think that's a good way to take it, because a lot of people don't realize how important, the French contribution sometimes is, not even just with the material and men that they sent to America, but and like the West Indies and stuff, in those kind of tropical islands, and how like fighting over like the sugar plantations and everything like that actually drew a ton of resources away from the British, that they couldn't like deal with, the mainland continent with. So anyways, like I said, kind of looking forward to having a whole new perspective there. And then the last two were sent to me by Grand Central Publishing. Let's start with this one, since I've already done a review of it. You can check it out there if you want to. And it's Slither by Stephen Hall, How Nature's Most Maligned Creatures Illuminate Our World. Absolutely fantastic book, all about the science of snakes, and a little bit of the kind of their cultural history as well in different parts of the world. But you learn tons about their biology, anatomy, ecology, physiology and stuff. There's a whole chapter on just all the different movements they do, how like advanced they are with their different gaits and everything, which sounds kind of weird considering they don't have legs, but they got literally 7 different scientifically, I guess, described ways of locomotion, which is kind of crazy. But especially like their metabolism and stuff, where like certain like constrictors and stuff only eat a meal or 2 a year on occasion if they have to, and how their organs sort of atrophy in the meantime, and then all of a sudden when they go to eat, like they enlarge like a bazillion % just to like get the job done for the time being. It's just crazy stuff. Absolutely awesome book. Definitely check it out if you like reptiles or snakes at all. And then lastly is the one I'm going to try to squeeze in before the end of the month, and it's David Attenborough's and Colin Buttfield's Ocean, Earth's Last Wilderness. So let me know in the comments below if I should watch the documentary first or read the book first. But yeah, I think this one I definitely am gonna get, like I said, the audiobook, and kind of like listen to David Attenborough narrate it to me as I'm like looking at it and stuff. I don't know, this one, like I said, this might be his last book. I said that about his last book though, his Witness, A Life on the Planet, or what's it called? A Life on Our Planet. I thought that might be his last one, and I think he did too. He called that his witness statement to the world or whatever. But he's 99 now, so we can't push our luck forever, sadly. Maybe he'll live to be 120. That'd be amazing. But anyways, this is all about kind of his take on the ocean, and why the ocean is the most important ecosystem on the planet, and how it sustains life on Earth. It's gonna be super good. I don't have to tell you that. It's David Attenborough. You know the drill there. So there you have it. Those were the 11 books that I was able to pick up during the month of April. So let me know what your favorite book that you picked up last month was, and if you've read it already, if it was good or not. But whatever you end up reading, whether it's one you got recently or not, read victoriously.